Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are diving into next-gen parenting. If you are looking for practical, real-world child psychology insights to help raise mentally strong kids, you are in the exact right place. Because look, every parent out there wants to raise confident, resilient, and successful children. But how do we actually do it? Well, here is the honest truth. It's not about being perfect, and there's absolutely no way you're going to have all the answers. It's really just about developing specific, consistent habits that help your children handle whatever life throws at them with total confidence. And that leads us to the core, fundamental truth of today's explainer. Mentally strong children are usually raised by mentally strong parents, period. It basically means taking a hard look at our own unhelpful instincts, the ones that make us want to bubble wrap our kids, and choosing a path that puts a child's long-term character way above their short-term comfort. Okay, so let's look at the roadmap for today. We are going to explore 10 specific things mentally strong parents just do differently, and we've grouped them into 5 big themes. First up, the parenting paradigm shift. Then, embracing struggles and mistakes. Third is setting healthy, firm boundaries. Fourth, emotional control and connection. And finally, preparing kids for reality. Let's jump right in. Starting with theme number 1, the parenting paradigm shift. This is all about moving away from short-term comfort and focusing on long-term character. You see, modern parenting often falls into this incredibly well-meaning trap of trying to keep our kids perfectly happy all the time. To really get why we need a paradigm shift, we have to look at overparenting. This is basically a style where parents are just over-involved, constantly hovering to protect their child from any physical or emotional discomfort, disappointment, or failure. And hey, while this absolutely comes from a place of deep, fierce love, it actually has some serious unintended consequences. By shielding them from every single little disappointment, we are literally robbing our kids of the chance to learn resilience and actual problem-solving skills. Now, this brilliantly illustrates that shift. So many parents operate on the left side, honestly believing their main job is to make life easy for their children. But mentally strong parents, they know their real job is on the right side, preparing children for reality. Because life is going to bring disappointments, it's going to bring failures, and really difficult decisions. So the goal isn't to somehow magically remove every obstacle in their path. The goal is to raise children who are totally capable of overcoming those obstacles themselves. Which brings us right to theme 2, embracing struggles and mistakes, and exactly why failure is actually life's greatest teacher. For a mentally strong parent, failure isn't the enemy at all. It's a goldmine. Here are 3 specific habits that build this mindset. First, they absolutely do not rescue their children from every single problem. Instead, they guide them toward solutions, because they know today's tiny struggles build tomorrow's massive resilience. Second, they actually allow them to make mistakes. Forgetting homework or dropping the ball in a game, that teaches true accountability. And third, they encourage independence over dependence. Because remember, the end goal isn't to make our kids dependent on us forever. It's to prepare them for an entire life without us. Now, check out this super subtle but totally game-changing habit, focusing on effort instead of just results. When we constantly praise natural talents by saying things like, "Oh, you're so smart," children can actually start to fear failure. They think, if I fail, I'm not smart anymore. But when we simply shift that to, wow, I'm so proud of how hard you worked, boom, we are building a growth mindset. They learn that real success comes from effort and persistence, which is something they always have control over. Moving on to theme 3, setting healthy, firm boundaries. We're talking about how structure creates security and protection. Sometimes we get into our own heads and mistakenly think that being a loving parent means just saying yes to everything. But honestly, love without boundaries just creates a ton of confusion. Look at the stark contrast here between punishment and discipline. Punishment is usually about making kids suffer for wrongdoing. And let's be real, it's often driven by our own frustration. Discipline, on the other hand, is entirely about teaching kids to do better in the future. Boundaries and rules aren't just some way to flex your power. They are literally a form of protection. Kids actually crave that consistency. So, how do we establish this structure? Well, mentally strong parents maintain a very clear family hierarchy. Kids shouldn't be dictating the family schedule or what's for dinner every single night. They also absolutely refuse to parent out of guilt. And finally, they avoid taking shortcuts to prevent discomfort. Yeah, giving in to whining at the grocery store or just doing your kids' chores for them is fast and easy in the moment, for sure. But holding the line, even when it's exhausting, is what ensures those core family values actually stick. Okay, theme 4, emotional control and connection. Because true influence only comes through relationships.
Think about it this way. As parents, we are basically the emotional thermostats for our entire house. Children learn how to regulate their emotions by watching how we react to stress. So, mentally strong parents model calm emotional regulation. They don't just react to every single spilled cup of milk with anger or panic. The calmer you remain, the safer your child feels. They also prioritize connection over control. Before jumping into corrective behavior, they make sure the child feels understood, because connection is what actually creates cooperation. And finally, they never ever compare their children to others. Progress matters infinitely more than competition.
Let's break down exactly how this looks in practice with emotion coaching. It's 4 clear steps. First, provide emotional support. Create that safe space. Second, problem solve the issue together rather than just fixing it for them. Third, help them label the emotions. Just giving the feeling a name actually dials down the intensity. And fourth, comfort your child. This sequence is huge because it teaches kids that while their feelings are completely valid, they are still the ones in full control of how they handle them. Which leads perfectly into our final theme, preparing kids for reality. This is all about building capable and responsible individuals. Everything we do has to be viewed through a long-term lens. Mentally strong parents build real-world readiness by teaching age-appropriate responsibility early on. Something as simple as making their bed or packing their own school bag builds immense confidence. And when misbehavior inevitably happens, they pause and ask themselves, okay, what lesson do I actually want my child to learn from this? They completely shift the focus from just trying to stop an annoying behavior today to actively building their child's character for tomorrow.
So, being a mentally strong parent really doesn't mean you have it all figured out, and it definitely doesn't mean you're perfect. It just means showing up consistently. It means setting those boundaries, managing your own emotions, and guiding them. I want to let this quote sink in for a second. Strong parents don't create perfect children. Strong parents create strong children. Helping your kids become capable, resilient individuals is absolutely one of the greatest gifts you could ever give them.
So let's bring it back to you. Which of these 10 habits do you already practice in your own home, and which one would you really like to improve on? We'd love to hear your thoughts, so definitely share them in the comments below. As we wrap up this explainer, leave yourself with this one final thought. Are we spending our time trying to prepare the path for our children, or are we truly preparing our children for the path? If you found this explainer helpful, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Together, let's raise confident, emotionally healthy kids.